For decades, Greenland was kind of seen as this remote, frozen wasteland, owned by Denmark. But lately, the United States has become, well, obsessed with it, even floating the idea of buying it outright. So let's dive into why this massive island has suddenly become such a huge geopolitical flashpoint.
Now, you might hear a quote like that and think it's just a casual, off-the-cuff remark, but it was actually part of a really persistent theme for the former president. And trust me, this interest in grabbing the world's largest island goes way, way deeper than just glancing at a map.
And that's the real question, isn't it? Why this sudden fixation on a huge, remote island that's mostly ice? Well, the answer is this incredible mix of old-school military history, trillions of dollars in hidden treasure, and, believe it or not, our rapidly changing planet.
To really get why America is so obsessed now, we've got to look back. Because this is not the first time the U.S. has tried to get its hands on Greenland. Not by a long shot.
This relationship goes way back. During the Cold War, Greenland was absolutely vital. It was this critical northern outpost for the U.S. military, perfect for keeping an eye on the Soviet Union. But then look what happens in the 90s. The Cold War ends and American interest just poof, disappears. That's a really key part of this story.
And here's the point that really changes everything. The U.S. already has military bases there. If they needed more, they could probably just negotiate for them. So this new super intense focus, it's not about the old military reasons. It's about something else entirely.
And that something else starts with what's hiding under Greenland's massive ice sheet. We're talking about a truly mind-boggling amount of untapped natural resources.
So, back in 2008, the U.S. Geological Survey dropped an absolute bombshell of an estimate. They figured that Greenland's waters could be holding a staggering 52 billion barrels of oil.
Now, to put that number into perspective for you, just look at this. If those estimates are even close to right, Greenland's potential reserves, there on the right, are bigger than the entire proven reserves of the United States. It could literally double America's oil reserves overnight. A complete shift in the global energy game.
And it's not just oil. You have to factor in natural gas and these super important rare earth minerals. When you do that, the total estimated value just skyrockets. We are talking about upwards of $4 trillion. But there is a huge problem. Greenland doesn't actually want to get the oil. Citing major environmental concerns, their government went and banned all new exploration back in 2021. They basically said the price of getting it out of the ground is just too high. And that policy puts them in direct conflict with any major power looking to cash in.
Okay, this brings us to the next absolutely fascinating layer of the story. Because it turns out Greenland's value isn't just about what's under the ice, it's about what's happening to the ice.
The Arctic is warming up at a frankly astonishing rate, about 4 times faster than the rest of the globe. And all this warming is causing the sea ice to melt away, uncovering something that was, for all of human history, impossible. Brand new, navigable shipping routes right through the Arctic Ocean.
And this comparison just shows you the incredible economic potential. A journey from Asia to Europe using these new Arctic routes could shave weeks off shipping times compared to the old paths. This isn't just a minor improvement. This could totally revolutionize global trade. And sitting right in the middle of it all? Greenland.
Of course, the United States isn't the only country that's noticed this monumental shift, not by a long shot. This has kicked off a brand new, high-stakes geopolitical race for control of the Arctic.
And you can see all the key players lining up. You've got Russia, which is aggressively building up its military all along its Arctic border. Then there's China. Even though it's not an Arctic nation, it's pouring billions into what it calls an Arctic Silk Road, and even trying to build infrastructure right there in Greenland. So in response, the U.S. is scrambling to get back in the game, reopening its consulate and pumping billions into its main airbase.
All of this intense pressure brings us back to that wild question from the beginning. If the U.S. is so determined to lock down Greenland, how could they possibly pull it off?
Well, there are a few pretty unconventional paths. First, the direct approach. Make an offer. Denmark has already shot that down, and the price tag would be insane, something like $2 trillion. The second path is pressure. A White House official very ominously left all options on the table, which is probably a heavy-handed negotiation tactic. Then there's a third, more subtle path. Get involved with Greenland's own independence movement and hope you can convince a brand new sovereign nation to be your new best friend.
So, while that whole idea of buying Greenland might have sounded like a joke at first, the strategic, economic, and geopolitical forces at play here are deadly serious.
This isn't just some casual remark. It's a reflection of a brand new global reality taking shape right before our eyes.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. As that ice keeps melting, exposing trillions in resources and these game-changing shipping lanes, Greenland is transforming from a frozen outpost into the center of a new global chessboard. Whether America buys it, influences it, or it stays independent, one thing is for sure. Greenland's era of quiet isolation is over. Its time as a geopolitical kingmaker has just begun. The only question now is, who's going to make the winning move?